Everyone.
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 Whether it's you,
A family member.
Or a friend.
Has been
Touched.
touched.
Touched by breast cancer. This is in honor of you.
So when I had Isaac, when I first had him, I breastfed. And me and his dad, me and Dale would be together, and he would not. He said, "That's for my son." I cannot, that's for my son. I was like, what? At the same time, I was like, that is very, very, I don't know, honorable, cute, manly. I don't know what it was, but I thought it was really nice that he would say, that's for my son. I had to be in the 9th grade at Gady, and I walked into the back gates. I had on this striped knit shirt, and it was tight, and I walked into the school, and you know how lunchtime or whatever, the kids are all in circles talking and everything. And then he came up to me, and I said, "Hey, Chris," and he went like this to my breast. Bam! And just slapped him like hard. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And you know how kids do. You know, stop that. I can't stand you, that kind of stuff. So then I would put my hands down and went to walk away, and he did it again. Now older, I'm like, why did he do that? And it's like he couldn't help himself. I guess being a teenage boy, he couldn't help, and that was the only way he was going to get to touch him.
So when I was younger, I used to feel like my boobs were too small. So, it just used to irritate me because I had this extra space in the middle, and my mom didn't have the extra space. So I'm like, why do I have to have the extra space? So I used to, when I got about 18 or so, I used to put socks in there to try and push it up and, make it so I can have some cleavage, but gave me as much as I could even get. So when I went to the club, trying to be fast, went to the club and just had some cleavage. When it would look like I would have at least something, all my friends would be like, "Oh, I see you, got some boobs there."
I call my breasts the big two kahunas. So it's okay for me to take my big kahunas to the crusher. That's what I call it. It's called the crusher. I wanted just to talk a little bit about procrastination. Getting your mammograms. Last year, 2013, I was in a major accident, so I wasn't able to get my mammogram. After that, I did get a mammogram, and it came back okay. But I want women to know you need to get that mammogram. So I just got my letter recently in the last week. So the big kahunas will be calling the crusher to set up our yearly date.
My breasts are called the twins. And as I was growing up and coming into my womanhood, I never wanted my breasts to sag. And I'm 51 years old, and they still don't sag. And I love that. They're still, I won't say perky, but they're like 40-ish, not 50, not down to my knees. And I love that about my breasts.
I realized the importance of having a mammogram pretty much this year, but it was time for me to get my mammogram. This year I turned 40. 3 days before my 40th birthday, I received a phone call from my doctor saying, "Let's schedule your mammogram." I thought to myself, can I turn 40 first before, want to play with my breast? So I was really scared. I think it was just the word mammogram and then the fear about it. And some people said it hurt like crazy. They would put your breast on this plate and they would make it flat. And I thought, this is a G, not an A, not a B, not a C, not a D, but a G. G is like 4 Ds. So I don't know if I'm ready for this. So reluctantly, I go in, have my first mammogram. I knew that one of my very best friends was a breast cancer survivor. So if she could survive breast cancer, big old me could get these things in a machine. So I go in to get my mammogram, first mammogram. 4 days after my 40th birthday, mind you. And it's kind of interesting. So the technician says, I'm gonna do, your mammogram. So she goes to lift my breast up and it falls out of her hand. And I look at her and I said, do you see these? These titties are like two-handed titties, so you have to pick these up with two hands. So she puts them on the plate and she kind of pushes them down and takes a couple films, and that was it. And I said, okay. She says, let's do the other breast. I'm still waiting for the pain to happen. So she does the left breast. Same thing. For this time though, she says, I'm gonna pick this up with two hands. So evidently she learned that this is a large breast and you can't just use one hand. She picks it up with two hands, puts it on the plate, does the exam, takes the pictures, and that was it. I kept saying, okay, now what? When does the pain come in? And I think the pain comes in of not doing it. The pain comes from not knowing, being uneducated, listening to people's rumors, worried about things. But even if it was painful, get your mammogram. As scared as I was, I think the fear is not knowing.
My first experience with breast cancer was with Tia Watkins Elliott. I grew up with her in elementary all the way through junior high, high school, and she was first diagnosed with cancer at the age of 31. It was very devastating for me. It was very hard. It was very heartfelt for me as a very close friend, best friend at the time. And with that being said, just going through the whole ordeal with her with breast cancer and the hair falling out and everything that goes along with this deadly disease, I have to commend her on because she is a breast cancer survivor, and she's a very powerful person, very powerful woman, and I want to thank her, and I just want to say that I love you, Tia, and I want to thank you for everything and all that you're doing for breast cancer awareness. Thank you.
When I walk into the room, my twins walk in first. I don't get any attention. My girls do. Sometimes it's annoying. Most of the time it's flattering. They're all mine, and they're real.
I was like maybe 10 years old. We had a swing set in our backyard. Had a pool in our backyard. And on the swing set, I was helping my little sisters try to do the jungle gym on the swing. And I fell. I hit the bar on the swing. One titty grew and one did not. Can I show? One titty grew, one did not. And then as I'm growing up, I dealt with that part. And then as I found out my sister had breast cancer, it took me by big surprise. I was just not feeling it. I couldn't understand it. I was devastated, I was pissed off, I was upset. And then I learned how to work with her with it, to deal with it so we can move it on.
I'm 21 years old and I just had a baby, a girl. She was an absolutely beautiful child. One of the things that I wanted to give to my child was the gift of breastfeeding. I wanted to give her the best. I wanted to bond with her. Not to mention I wanted to get my cute little shape back, but most importantly, I wanted to breastfeed to increase her immune system, among other things. It didn't last long. It lasted about a month because she sucked so hard that she sucked the skin off both breasts. Fast forward 3 years. I'm pregnant again with my second child. Another girl. Again, gorgeous child. So I decided, okay, Tia, put your big girl bra on and breastfeed this baby past your other one. So I began to breastfeed. It lasted a month and maybe a day because she too sucked so hard that she sucked the skin off my breast. So fast forward 7 years. My oldest is 10 and my youngest is 7. And I get diagnosed with breast cancer. I find the lump in this position. I get a left mastectomy, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and then because the lump was so big and so fast growing, I have to do chemotherapy again. Fast forward 2 years, I decided to get reconstruction surgery. So I get a tram on one side and a breast reduction on the other side. Fast forward 2 years from then, I'm pregnant again. Third child, this time it's a boy. A gorgeous, handsome little boy. I knew it was going to be tough to breastfeed because I had the tram and the reduction, but I decided, okay, I'm going to put my big girl bra on and my big girl panties on, and I'm about to do this thing for my son. So I tried to breastfeed. It didn't work because the glands on this side just wasn't enough to make enough milk to feed him for him to get full. So let's rewind 16 years ago when I got the devastating news of breast cancer. One of the first things that stuck in my mind was, what would I leave my daughters? What legacy would I leave my girls if this disease took me from them? God spoke to me in a quiet voice and said, this disease will not be the thing that takes you from this world. You'll live well past this journey. At that time, I decided to live my life on purpose.